On this edition of the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.
Yeah, you know, our focus is getting ready to play a good Jets team.
Taylor takes the snap, fires it into the end zone for Waller. Touchdown, Giants!
It's been, a journey since the beginning of the season. There's been tough moments for the team, and I feel like we're finding our way to the other side of that and just looking forward to the next challenge.
Your quarterback's internal clock can become very off-centered when these guys start to come.
I'm looking for a little revenge juice here going, Amadi, okay?
Spiciness.
This is enticing right now.
And we welcome you to another edition of the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Giants will be taking on the Jets this week, and as always, we're joined by two-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks and the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. And Coach, obviously, your team worked really hard after that disappointment in Buffalo. How proud of you are you of the way they put forth an effort on Sunday?
Yeah, they had a good week of preparation, practice, and then they went out and played a good game, complimentary game. Could do a better job of taking care of the football, but, for 60 minutes competed, came all the way down to the end there, and defense made a great stop in the red zone, and it was good to get a win.
Coach, you talk about life in the NFL is about getting better, increments you talk about. Can you share a little bit about the group effort that this offensive line has put together to get better each? And it's been a lot of different combinations.
Yeah, absolutely, Carl. So, those guys are pros, the guys that we've brought in, Tyree and Pugh's played for a long time. Tyree was with us, for a couple years. They've worked extremely hard. We put them in different spots earlier in the week, figure out how we were going to do things. But they're pros, and that's what you appreciate about the guys that were out there. The 5 guys that played, they didn't make any mistakes in terms of mental mistakes, which is, a good thing for an offensive line. And, they competed hard against a good defensive line group. So I was proud of the way they competed.
Coach, on the first touchdown of the game, they stop you and there's a penalty. So instead of having the ball at the 2-yard line, they decide to accept the penalty. Were you surprised at that point? And did that little extra room kind of open some things up for you against their secondary?
Yeah, they ended up playing a split safety defense on that play, and Waller and Tyrod were right on the same page in terms of the route concept that we chose to run. And again, it's hard to usually score from that far out on a 3rd and long situation, but it was a really good read by Tyrod. He let the ball go on time. Waller was exactly where he needed to be, and kind of split the backer and the safety and made a really good play.
One of the other things, Coach, Saquon's numbers rushing are not off the charts, right? 21 carries for 77 yards. But the volume of runs lead to big plays down the field, don't they?
Yeah, I think that helps your action game, which we hit a couple plays on the action game. And again, as a play caller, I don't want to speak for Mike, but I know that, you're handing that ball off and you're gaining 1 and 2 yards and it's 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9. That's not an easy thing to stick with it. Because you want to gain some yards and stay on track and play in positive situations. But, I thought balance is important right now for our football team. And I believe it was 29 runs and 29 passes this game.
Talk about Tyrod Taylor and sort of his embracing of this role. He's a veteran guy. He's had, over 50 starts as a quarterback in the league. But to be able to stay prepared, not knowing if Daniel's going to go or not, and then the way he goes out and performs and executes.
Yeah, I just say, I use the word true pro. That's what he is. I think everybody in the building respects how he goes about his business. He's been doing this for a long time, an older guy on the football team. I think a lot of the young guys look to him for leadership. Whether he was the backup or the starter, just about he goes about his business, knows our offense really well, and we're trying to do things that accentuate his strengths, and he's done a good job the 2 games that he started and given us a chance in the Bills game, and obviously came away with a win this game against the Commanders.
Carl, I'll let you take the defensive questions.
Well, Coach, the defensive effort, again, we talk about increments. You talk about getting better in increments, and you can kind of see the growth of the defense, but the tackling has gotten better, but it seems like everybody has collectively, I don't want to say bought in, but they're all on the same page. And just for the last 8 quarters of football, it's been pretty good effort.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think the effort's always been there. Obviously, we're improving some things on fundamentals and techniques. And again, the chemistry of the group is, in the early part of the season is always growing. You have a new middle linebacker, You have Pinnock back there at safety. You have some new guys on the defensive line. You have young corners. And look, that's not, you want it to happen right away, but I think that the most important thing is we keep on improving. They play hard. I thought Wink called an exceptional game. The guys were bought in. We did the things necessary to give ourselves a chance. The 2 plays they hit to 17 there was something that, we didn't want to let happen, but he's a heck of a player. And again, the most important thing is, incremental improvements each week like you talk about.
The interception by Deonte Banks.
Yeah.
Wasn't an easy play. I mean, he actually caught that as if he were a receiver.
Yeah, we're in a little zone defense, and he was reading the quarterback, and I'm not sure Sam saw him on the over route, and he kind of baited him a little bit and ran back and made a catch. And we got to work on his ball security after he makes that catch. But it was good to come down with one for his first one.
Coach, we appreciate a couple minutes. We'll talk some Jets at the end of the program as well.
You got it. Thanks.
That's the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. When we come back, we'll take a look at the highlights of the Giants' win against Washington here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. On Sunday, it's the Giants and Jets at MetLife Stadium. Time now for the game recap of the Giants' win against Washington.
New York Giants football is on the air from high atop MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The New York Football Giants take on the Washington Commanders. Howell back to throw, gets sacked for a 35th time. Micah McFadden finishes it after Lawrence got the first hit. Taylor back. He's going to take a shot down the right side for Hyatt, who makes a one-handed catch and gets touchdown at the 48-yard line. Takes the snap, back to throw, under pressure, gets sacked again. Back at midfield, Leonard Williams. Second sack of the ball game of Howell, and Washington will punt. Taylor back, zips one right. Robinson spins at the 20, turns upfield at the 25, still on his feet to the 30, still on his feet across the 35, and finally tackled from behind. Gain of 22. Back to throw is Taylor. Zips it over the middle and completes it over the middle of the slate. Turns right at the 45 and chased to the bench. Taylor on a play fake, steps up, bounces out to his left, looking, lobs it for Waller, who makes the catch and chased out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Takes the snap, quarterback draw, runs up the middle to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, and knocked down at the 8-yard line. 35 seconds into the second, no score. Taylor takes the snap, fires it into the end zone for Waller, touchdown Giants! Their first half touchdown of the season. It's their first touchdown since September the 21st in San Francisco. And 42 seconds, the Giants finally score a touchdown. Snap under pressure, gonna get sacked for a third time. Jason Pinnock came from his safety spot to get the sack, his first of the year. Back to throw, lobs one left side, and it's intercepted. Deonte Banks gets his first pick, and he gets run out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Intended for Dotson, the ball was underthrown, and Tay Banks, the first-round pick out of Maryland, gets his first pick of his career. Back to throw. Steps up, dumps it underneath, completes it to Barkley, runs out of a tackle. He's to the 10, he's to the 5, he's in for the touchdown! Saquon from 32 yards out! And the Giants take the lead 13-0. Blitz is on. Howell under pressure, sacked again. Dexter Lawrence back at the 13-yard line, a loss of 9. Second sack of the game for Dexter.
Well, I tell you what, Wink Martindale has got it dialed in, and his players are responding.
Takes the snap. Blitz is on. Howell under pressure, sacked again. Dexter Lawrence drag of the 13-yard line, a loss of 9. Second sack of the game for Dexter. Back to throw, under pressure, gonna get sacked again. Tibido got the first hit. Lawrence and Leonard Williams cleaned it up. 6th sack of the game. 27-yarder from the right hash. He's had 3 blocked in his career. Snap, spot, kick, block! Into the end zone. And the Giants block the field goal. Leonard Williams gets the block. 2nd and 9 for the Giant 37. Taylor back in a shotgun. This time he has time. Deep ball down the right side. He's got Hyatt, who makes the catch along the sideline. Got his feet in at the Washington 21-yard line. So now it'll be 4th and 5 at the Giants 7. Can the Giants get a stop on 4th and 5 with 1:01 to go? Howell back, under pressure, avoids the sack, spins away, throws left, and the pass incomplete. Intended for Dotson. Isaiah Simmons got pressure on the quarterback, forcing a bad throw, and the Giants stop Washington on 4th and 5 with 56 seconds left. Pinnock broke up the pass, but it was Simmons with the pressure.
Couple things here. One, that's a hell of a job, fellas. Hell of a job. Hell of a job. It's been a long journey, fellas. I've told you so far, and it's far from over. We're kind of at the back, but we're slowly making ground. We're making progress as a football team, and I'm proud of you. All right? I'm proud of you. That's a hell of a win.
The Giants had many key contributors in that victory. When we come back, we'll hear from one of them here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. 1 o'clock, the Giants and Jets in MetLife Stadium on Sunday. Now it's time for this week's player interview.
Man, what a week to be you last week. Wife gets back-to-back WNBA championships. You score your first touchdown, and you get a W against the Commanders. Who's got the bragging rights in the Plum Waller household right now?
I mean, my wife can have it, but it ain't really no bragging, man. We just there to support each other and looking forward to getting back to living with each other on a day-to-day basis.
Like, how much do you guys push each other?
I mean, as far as it's really just from a spiritual level and like a mental level.
All right.
And those kind of things. Once you have that approach, you know what you need to do as far as when you go to your team, what you got to do on a day-to-day basis, how you approach preparing for games and all that. But it's really just, you know, walking a spiritual journey together.
Well, your preparation came to fruition. You scored your first touchdown. You guys got the win. Is it safe to say you had your most fun as a New York Giant last Sunday?
Yeah, that was the most fun. I would say that in the probably second half of the Cardinals game.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of laughing, a lot of big plays, especially like first half for the offense. A lot of big plays the entire game for the defense. So it was definitely. That's what football is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun.
Touchdown celebration, was it pre-planned or was that just something that was on the spot?
That was just my body. It was just like, oh, we just scored. It just went and did whatever it wanted to do. It was nothing planned whatsoever.
I want to talk to you, man, because, I mean, you've like football. This has been a complete journey for you, man. Now you're here with the New York Giants, playing in the city. Like, just kind of, what's it been like, man? Just your personal journey being here in New York so far.
It's been cool. It's been tough in some rights. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't been around. My wife is very early on in marriage, so that's tough. But as far as being here, being amongst the team, being amongst the guys, and just fans, people in the city, they've been looking out. They've been good. They've been welcoming. Just forming relationships and friendships with guys on the team. Like, it's been dope. It's been a journey since the beginning of the season. There's been tough moments for the team, and I feel like we're finding our way to the other side of that, and just looking forward to the next challenge.
How do you kind of get away from it? What do you do to kind of center yourself to where you step on the field, whether it's practice field or game day, you just feel the most appreciative you can be when it comes to playing this game?
Yeah, it's just about filling your cup back up. For me, it's meditating, it's making music, it's walking outside, being in nature. Like smoke a cigar with some of the guys and just have a good conversation, talk about life, talk about anything, and those are some of the things that allow me to just kind of recenter.
Like, what is it like about your spirituality in football that when it comes together, you know that you're operating at your highest power?
It's just having a trust in the ability that I've been blessed with, and knowing that there's going to be ups and downs along the journey the whole way, but trusting in what I've been able to do, what I've been able to show that I'm capable of consistently, and knowing that when opportunities are given, I'm going to be able to go out there and do that and make plays that'll spark whatever the team has going. But just knowing that if you're looking for somebody that can be like a rock or an anchor when things go good, things go bad, like I'm going to be one of those guys that's just in the middle trying to take that next step.
What about competitively? I don't imagine you talk trash, so what would it take to get Darren Waller to be talking trash out there, mic'd up, like, yeah, you can't see me?
Talking trash, I feel like hell would have to freeze over for me to be out there.
Really?
Talking trash.
So if someone's coming at you like, oh, what's up, 12? I'm all on you all day, 12. You're not gonna say anything.
It's probably crickets.
Dang. All right, let your game talk for itself. Let your game talk for itself. All right, man. You come through very, very fresh on game day. I know music has kind of been like a getaway, but is style one of those things for you as well?
I feel like since I've been in New York, I was like, why not? Branch out in a lot of different ways, and style is one of those. And I feel like if you put a fit on and you feel good and you dress well, like it ups your confidence a little bit. It has you feeling like, okay, like I'm about business. Like let's go have some fun. Let's go do it the right way. But I feel like I've never really taken it serious until now. But now I see why people do it. Now I see why it gives them that good feeling, because I love to do it. It's just a great part of game day.
Kind of gives you like a voice, and it tells the people like kind of like a story about you. Another way you kind of tell your story is your music. Can you give us 8 bars to end the interview? Quick 8 bars, quick little something to end.
Oh man!
On the spot. Just think if Diddy was at the Aces Liberty game and you had to give 8 bars to Diddy about the New York Giants football season, go. On the spot, man. So that's
about the season.
Making the band. That's how we do it, man.
There's a verse I wrote recently. Okay. I said, look at this young king, damn, he got a glow to him. Learn not to force it because it's going to flow to him. He see that fake love and hate is what they going to show to him. He probably won't get the respect they really owe to him. But when did that really even matter? Logging off them apps because all he hearing is chatter. Thinking they control him with algorithms and data, but he popping in real life and all they getting is matter. Fix your face, love.
Let's go, man. Let's go, man. This is over. It's over. It's over.
We're just getting started on the program. When we come back, head-to-head with Paul Dottino and Sean O'Hara here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. In 1984, under second-year head coach Bill Parcells, the Giants showed vast improvement and were poised to make the playoffs. But with a record of 8-5, Big Blue would need one more win in December to secure their spot in the postseason. And the only thing that stood in the way was their crosstown rivals, the New York Jets, who coincidentally had just moved into Giant Stadium as their new home that same season. Despite this technically being a road game, Big Blue would look right at home against their new co-tenants of Giant Stadium.
Touchdown, left-handed spike.
With their dominant defense and balanced offensive attack, the Giants had the Jets' heads spinning, and Joe Morris would put the finishing touches on the team in green as the Giants clinched a spot in the playoffs.
There's Morris, swings left, cuts back for a touchdown. Put this one in column W. The Giant record will improve to 9-5. They'll stay tied in first place, but they've got the edge going for them.
Giants and Jets have been co-tenants for a long time. The first time was in 1984 when the Giants came up with a victory against their crosstown rivals. Now it's time for this week's edition of Head to Head. Here's Paul Dottino and Sean O'Hara.
All right, so this may be one of our best head-to-heads of the season, Sean. We've got some dynamite matchups, and first up,
might be our biggest.
Yeah, it could be. Our Giants-Jets matchup here is Makai Beckton against Kavon Tibido. Now, Beckton, look, when he was drafted by the Jets, they expected big things out of him. He was the 11th overall pick in 2020. But 2 years of ankle injuries and concussions gave him a big problem. Bottom line, at 6'7" and 365 pounds, he is a big challenge.
Well, you got to make him play my game. You know, if I try to play the big man game, I'm going to lose every time. So I got to try to keep him in space, keep his feet moving, and, keep him off rhythm and balance.
I know Kavon Tibido is looking forward to this matchup. Paul, you mentioned how big Makai Beckton is, and I think anytime you have a guy like Kavon Tibido, you see a big guy like that, you want to create the opportunity with your speed to build that into power. So, of course, Kavon Tibido has the speed rush, but when you kind of look at these sacks, he's got 5.5 sacks on the season. A lot of them have actually come from the up and under move, him beating the tackle inside. He did it twice against Seattle, and he's really done a nice job, I think, by setting that up with the speed rush. So now you get the tackle worried about kicking back and meeting you at that intersection point, and because of the speed, it can get them out of balance. So that's something that I know Kavon Tibido is looking forward to trying to exploit. The thing that he's got to really work on is in the run game, Makai Beckton is a train. He is a locomotive. So they like to run behind him because, man, if you get locked up with Makai Beckton, he is tough to stand up. He's tough to stonewall. So that's going to be certainly a big challenge for Kavon Tibido in the run. How does he hold up? Can he hold up at the point of attack if they decide to run right behind Makai Beckton? But this should be a good matchup. We know Kavon Tibido loves some of the splash plays. I know his game day attire is always on point, so hopefully he's got a sack celebration already in store for this game.
I will say this, Thibodeau's been coming on as of late. He has at least a sack in 4 of the last 5 Giants games. He's got it going. All right. Our next matchup, C.J. Mosley against Saquon Barkley. Now, Mosley's a former Baltimore Raven. This guy is a 5-time Pro Bowl player, in fact, made it last season, and is an absolute tackling machine. Saquon Barkley and the Giants know they need to stay away from this guy.
I mean, he's C.J. Mosley. He's a leader over there, one of the best defensive players in the league. It's always fun watching him and, being able to practice against him. And I think I went against him one time, but he's a heck of a player. Not only him, but Quincy right next to him is a really good player. The defense in general is playing at a high level. And it's going to be a tough challenge. It's going to be a tough challenge for us, but it's a challenge that we're happy about. That's something you live for as a competitor, to go out there and play the best, and we're definitely going to get that with all phases of their defense.
Well, I know Saquon's watching film on C.J. Mosley, and as he watches him, he's got to say, man, is he in the huddle? Because it seems like he always knows where the play is going. His ability to dissect a play and diagnose where it's going is second to none. So he's got a great instinct. On film, Paul, he's one of the first linebackers to react to a play. So he's already like a step ahead of everybody else. But you mentioned the impact that he has. I think one of the most impressive things about C.J. Mosley is he just doesn't miss tackles. I think he has 2 missed tackles on the entire season. For C.J. Mosley and Saquon Barkley, this is going to be a cat and mouse game. I've always felt like the middle linebacker, his job is to shadow and mirror the running back. Wherever they go, you go, right? It's like Luda said, when I move, you move. So that's what C.J. is tasked with. And for Saquon, look, we just saw him with the 32-yard receiving touchdown, kind of break free from the linebacker. This is going to be a good matchup because C.J. Mosley is one of the most underrated cover linebackers in the league right now. I think the other thing that he does really well, Paul, is his downhill tackling is phenomenal. There's a play against the Dallas Cowboys down on the goal line where he reads the play right now. He's the first defender on the scene, and that's it. He slams the door shut. So like I said, he doesn't miss tackles. And I think for Saquon, the biggest thing for him is he's going to have to run through contact. You got to bring your lunch bucket, run with power. Obviously, we know Saquon has a speed, and feels like he's got a little juice back. He definitely looks healthy. So I expect for him to have some big explosive plays, but he's going to have to run away from 5'7".
Now, there is one caveat here, and I know Saquon's chomping at the bit for this one. Back in 2019, his only game against the Jets, the Giants had 23 yards rushing that day. Barkley, 13 carries, 1 yard rushing. It was his lowest output of his career. I guarantee you when he looks at that tape, he's going to want to make sure he's got a big game in him this Sunday.
Absolutely.
That'll do it for this edition of Head to Head this week. Now let's go back to Bob.
Carl, obviously the Giants had 6 sacks last week. Again, the Jets have had some injuries on the offensive line. They got to keep the pressure going, led by Kavon Tibido.
Yeah, Bob, it is a team effort. You can single out any guy on any particular play, but collectively, they're doing a really good job of staying on the same pace defensively, and each individual effort is leading to the success.
And the Jets are really good against the run. Tough sledding for Saquon Barkley against that front for the Jets.
Well, they have to commit to it. They have to commit to it. And Saquon Barkley is a back where you can shut him down all game, and then all of a sudden he'll break one for 60. So the Giants have to continue to be committed to the run because it keeps the offense on track.
Yep, even though the yardage doesn't always look great, it's the volume that sets up things for things down the field. We're going to get into the coach's tape with Carl. Strategy coming up next here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. On Sunday, it's the Giants and Jets at MetLife Stadium. Time for this week's edition of Strategy with Carl Banks. And Carl, we're going to take a look at the Jets and what they can do as far as explosive plays are concerned. Breece Hall is averaging 6.5 yards a carry. He's got a long of 83 this year and 2 touchdowns.
Very explosive out of the line of scrimmage. Bob, you'll see a lot of combo blocks, and they'll occupy guys and try to get a guy to come up and make a tackle. But what he is very good at, Bob, is reading his blocks and then just exploding. So you start off with a combo, now everybody's blocked. You got one guy to fill this spot. You've got to be very decisive. If not, he makes you miss. And you can see he's got a lot of twist and turn to him, just subtle movement. 2 guys here that can actually kind of make a play, but he gets sideways and runs right out the gate there. And then once he's in the open field, he's got really good speed.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's the kind of guy with Dalvin Cook also as a change of pace running back. I mean, this is a guy that can really cause problems for a defense, even when you think you got him tackled.
Now here it is again, Bob. Let's bring it back. It's blocked, but you have one guy who's free to make this play, and he just completely whiffs on him. Again, good vision, good footwork, and you can see the speed right there.
Yeah, I mean, Breece Hall could have easily been the Offensive Rookie of the Year last year, but he got hurt. So the Offensive Rookie of the Year award was won by his teammate, Garrett Wilson. So we're going to watch Garrett Wilson, who's another guy who's got tremendous explosion. He's got a 68-yard touchdown catch this year and has scored twice.
Bob, there are a lot of things you can show about Garrett Wilson, but his ball skills are the thing that you really, if you're playing cornerback, you really got to be attentive because, yes, he's a good route runner. Yes, he has great speed, but his ball skills are second to none. And that ball is always in play until it's on the ground when Garrett Wilson goes for it. Here he is at the bottom of your screen here. And just watch, it's a back shoulder throw, but he never gives any indication that the ball is coming. Ball is on him, and he catches it. Very subtle, but this defender really had no chance to prepare for this. He's in a go route, he just turns, ball's there. So his ball skills are the thing that you really got to pay attention when he's running, but then you've got to watch his hands because he never gives it away with his head and eyes.
Yeah, and we saw even in the preseason, Carl, the catch he made from Aaron Rodgers was absolutely spectacular, right on the back shoulder. Now, the Jets have played in 6 games. They have 13 sacks on the season, but don't let the sack number fool you with the amount of pressure that they can generate in waves.
This is disruption personified because this group, again, they may not get a lot of sacks. They hit your quarterback a lot. They punish your running back when he's trying to block, and he gets your offense off schedule, and your quarterback's internal clock can become very off-centered when these guys start to come. And you just got guys who can individually rush the quarterback. They can blitz, and they do, but you have individuals that'll just push your man right back into the backfield here. Let's just take a look here, and just watch how they just collapse on the quarterback. You have to know your protections and be alert if you're going to contain an aggressive defensive front.
We're going to take a timeout. When we come back on the program, Madeline Burke joins us for Over Under here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. In Week 16 of Big Blue's historic 2011 season, the Giants and Jets would square off in a Christmas Eve showdown at MetLife Stadium with hometown bragging rights at stake. Needing a win to keep their playoff hopes alive, the G-men trailed the Jets at the end of the first half and were backed up at their own end zone.
Manning throws one to the right, completes it to the right for a first down, and running out of a tackle down the right sideline is Victor Cruz. Chased by Smith, hurdles over him to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown Giants, 99 yards!
Cruz's heroics gave the Giants the momentum they needed.
And Ahmad Bradshaw would deliver a knockout punch. Bradshaw's on the 10, to the goal line, touchdown Giants!
And one of the Jets he ran through is still on the ground. Wow.
Boom! Rodney Poole got knocked over.
Game over. That's a closer.
The Giants have won their 5th in a row against the Jets.
Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Yes, 2011 Christmas Eve, Victor Cruz, 99 yards, propelling the Giants on their way to winning Super Bowl 46. Now it's time for this week's edition of Over Under. Here's Madeline Burke with Sean O'Hara and Amani Toomer.
Time for a little Week 8 Over-Under presented by the New York Lottery. Madeline Burke, Sean O'Hara, and Amani Toomer here. You guys know the rules. We'll throw out a number and see if you think that the Giants will go over or under. Sean, starting with the Giants defense. As the Giants take on the Jets on Sunday. Over under 4.5 sacks for the Giants defense.
This is enticing right now. The Giants coming off a 6-sack performance, 4.5 sacks. I'm going to take the under on this one because I think the Jets are going to be committed to the run. Now, you look at Zach Wilson in this Jets offense. Zach's been sacked 19 times this season. That's not a lot, but he's been sacked 9 times in the last 2 weeks alone. So they are kind of trending towards that category. But I think they're going to be committed to the run and getting the ball out quick. So I'm going to say under for 4.5 sacks.
That's very interesting. I'm going to go over because I feel like the Giants are going to get an early lead, and then you're going to have the Jets and Zach Wilson trying to force the ball down the field and and try to make up some points in a hurry because the running game I don't think is going to be as important. You know, we got Big Cat playing well, Sexy Dexy playing well, Kavon Tibido. All these guys are really starting to come into their own, starting to trust each other on the defensive line. So I feel like that everything is trending positively when you're talking about sacks and you're talking about production from this defense. They seem to be gelling really well.
I'm going to take the slight under here. I think 4 is the number I'm looking at for this one because I like the way that the defense is trending. The arrow is absolutely pointing up. But the way that this matchup is, plus the fact that these sacks have been coming in bunches, I think 4 is a number I feel good with. So I'm taking the slight under.
Slight under.
Slight under. You know, that half. Yeah. It's the half that always gets you. All right, Amani, over or under 25 yards per catch for Jalen Hyatt.
Oh, I'm definitely going under. I feel like he needs to round out his game. He's done very well. I think last week he had 2 catches for 70 yards, averaging almost 37, 38 yards per catch. Now he needs to expand on the route tree. What else can he run? Can he be a number 1 receiver? But I think that the Jets watched the film last week, and every time he catches the ball, it's always a game-breaking 25-yard plus reception. That's why I feel like they're going to try and make him do something else.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over on this. And I think for Jalen Hyatt, it's kind of like that old saying, like, when you have somebody that can do a lot of work, you tend to give him more work. I think for Jalen Hyatt, look, he can handle it, and that's really where that's his forte. So, look, he's doing a great job of it. He's doing a great job locating the ball. He's got some nice throws from both Tyrod and from DJ this year already. So keep it up. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just keep going deep. Keep running the go routes. I think against this Jets defense, there are definitely some holes and some opportunities.
Absolutely, and a lot of question marks in that secondary this week as well. But when you look at the way that Jalen Hyatt's been playing, Amani, you pointed to it, it's a lot of these big chunk plays. I think it's going to be under what we've seen from him so far, but still over 25. So give me the over on this over-under line. All right, Sean, over under 100 rushing yards allowed by the Giants.
I'm gonna take the over on this one. The Giants defense has given up over 100 yards rushing in every single game this year except Washington. And I think the Jets are going to be committed to that run. Breece Hall has been very explosive. He's averaging 6.5 yards a carry. So I think the Giants give up 100 yards rushing, but I think they still get the win. So it's a non-factor.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be the over because, you know, they have Zach Wilson as their quarterback. I don't think he can consistently win a game. They have to be run heavy, play action to try and open things up. They're going to try and pound the ball and see what they can do because I don't know how well this offensive line can protect for Zach Wilson.
Just to be different, I'm going to say under, because I'm going to shake things up a little bit. And I think that the way that, Amani, the point that you made earlier, the fact that the Giants will probably get a lead early and the Jets will be playing from behind, which means they're going to be airing it out, not focus as heavily on the run. So I'm going to take under. Because why not? Why not? That's a wrap for Over Under in Week 8. Let's set it back now to Bob.
Carl, obviously the Jets have a couple players that can make explosive plays, whether it's the wide receiver or the running back. Plus, they got a veteran guy, Dalvin Cook. The Giants did a good job against Washington of not allowing a lot of explosive plays. Is that one of the keys in this game?
Well, it is, and they, like you said, they have explosive players. They have a quarterback who can move with the football as well. So it's discipline, it's assignment football. The things that they've had success with defensively, they'll have to continue to do that.
Now it's time for this week's edition of Above the Numbers with Paul Dottino and Amani Toomer.
Okay, so once again this week, we've got some key players in above and below the numbers as the Giants take on the Jets. Amani, who's up first?
Oh, we're going to have a big game out of our #1 pick, the 24th pick of the draft out of Maryland, Tay Banks. He has been playing outstanding. He's been playing against the #1 wide receiver on each team, and he has stood up very well. Some of the top-ranked receivers in this league, and he's held his own. Last week, he had his first interception. He's playing 81% of all the snaps. He has 5 pass defenses, and I think he's only going to get better. This is a guy that has dominated, and he will have to continue to improve, especially against this Jets wide receiving core that has a lot of different, very experienced veteran players.
Including Garrett Wilson,
yes,
of course. The pick by Banks, that was the first, obviously, of his career. But let's not forget, he also had a career-high 7 tackles in the game. 3 of those came in the red zone on Washington's final drive as the Giants locked that thing down. All right, I'm going to stay on defense. Is that okay? Just for a change?
All right.
I'm going to go to safety, Jason Pinnock. Now, you will recall he was the 5th-round pick out of Pittsburgh by the Jets 3 seasons ago. So I'm looking for a little revenge juice here going, Amani, okay?
Spiciness.
He's already had 2 big impact games this year. 13 tackles against Arizona, and then against Miami, 102-yard interception return for a touchdown, tied for the longest ever in Giants history with Rich Barnes, okay? Also had a forced fumble in that game. But again, I'm looking for the revenge factor. He's never really forgotten that the Jets got rid of him.
You never forget that. And man, this guy, Jason Pinnock, has been flying around the field as a safety, making all kinds of tackles. The young, up-and-coming secondary is really starting to pay off. And hopefully towards the end of the season, they'll be even better.
All right, let's take a look at who's below.
Oh, here we go. Quincy Williams, he has been an absolute terror for this Jets defense. The defense has been proving itself to be one of the better defenses in the league. This is somebody our offensive line is going to have to really account for, not only in the running game, but he does have these sacks. We've got to protect the quarterback and make sure that the game doesn't get ruined by a sack.
He is the older brother of Quinnen Williams, the defensive lineman for the Jets, who's having a phenomenal season. And Quincy's kind of having a breakout year himself. This is his 5th year in the NFL. He's already coming off back-to-back 100 tackle seasons. But right now, he's tied for 4th in the National Football League on tackles against running plays. He's got 23.
Yeah.
Bobby Okereke of the Giants, though, is #1. He's got 31 runs. Just thought I'd throw that in there anyway.
A little brother. You know what I mean?
And by the way, tackles for losses, Williams has them in 5 of the Jets' 6 games this season.
Oh, wow.
That'll do it for Above the Numbers this week. When we come back, we will head back out to the field on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford after this timeout.
Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Coach will join us momentarily, but now it's time for 3 things.
It's week 8 and the Giants are back at MetLife Stadium to host the Jets. I'm Madeline Burke with 3 things that you need to know. The Giants' defense has been on an upswing lately. They've held their opponents scoreless in the first half of back-to-back games for the first time since 2005, and they'll be facing a Jets team that has trailed at halftime in every game this season. And Giants linebacker Bobby Okereke led the Giants with 11 tackles on Sunday, the 4th straight game that he has led the Giants' defense. Meanwhile, his teammate Micah McFadden had an 89.8 grade by PFF, the highest grade among all linebackers in Week 7. And Sunday, the Giants will marvelize their game day experiences with branding, character appearances, and activations in partnership with Marvel. Plus, the first 25,000 fans will receive a custom Eli Manning superhero poster. You don't want to miss it. It's Giants-Jets Sunday at MetLife Stadium. And that's a wrap for 3 things you need to know.
And we get you set for the Giants and Jets, and Coach Daboll has rejoined us here on the program. So the Jets are coming off a bye. The rivalry, obviously you guys share a building. Is that more fan-related than it is team-related in your opinion?
Yeah, our focus is getting ready to play a good Jets team. I think Coach Saleh is a tremendous coach. Have competed against him in the past when he was with the 49ers as a defensive coordinator. They just beat Philadelphia. So, again, I understand it. It's 2 teams in the same city, and I respect that and understand it. But our focus really needs to lie on of getting ready to play a good football team.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the challenges their defense poses? Because they've got good players on the outside, good players at the second level, and up front, they get a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why they've given up one touchdown in the second half. So they take the ball away. I think Mosley is an unbelievable middle linebacker. Their defensive line is like hockey shifts, and they just stay at it and get after the passer and do a good job with the, creating problems in a run game. And then obviously you got two really good corners. Obviously Sauce is an exceptional player, and so it's a very tough defense to prepare for in terms of, they're a fast scheme. They know what they're doing, and they do a good job of stopping offenses.
Coach, when you look at them offensively, Hall can be a game breaker, and obviously Wilson can be a game breaker at wide receiver. You guys have done a great job of containing explosives the last couple of weeks. I mean, Washington averaged 25 points a game coming in, and the Bills 32 before you played them. What are some of the keys to slowing down and the explosive plays against?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can ever slow down really good players fully. But I think you have to do a good job of understanding what they do well and try to take those things away the best you can. And the good players are really going to make, like I talked about McLaurin, he's going to make a nice play here and now. But again, tackling, being on the same page, communication, understanding the defense we're trying to play for each particular down or situation, those all play into it.
Like we talked about in the first segment with Washington, is this another game where with the run game, even if there's not explosive success, that it's something that has to be maintained throughout the course of the game?
Yeah, I think, look, staying two-dimensional on offense and then on defense trying to make them one-dimensional, that's how you got to play team football, and that's what we'll try to do.
Obviously, you're going to have the home crowd behind you, but there'll be a mix. There'll be some Jet fans in the building. But going back to last week, how important is that when the crowd in those big third downs? I mean, Washington was 1 for 15.
Yeah.
It does become a factor.
Absolutely. Again, they've been great all year. I know we haven't given them a lot to cheer for at particular times, but they've been there. They've shown out. They've been loud. They were loud against Washington. I certainly appreciate, all the stuff that they provide for us.
And then the final question, just positive reinforcement. I mean, you coach, you preach, you teach, but at some point, players need results, and a staff does. How much was that a wind in your sails to get all the hard work, but to get the win at the end of it?
Yeah, it's always easier to wake up Monday morning when you win than when you lose. So again, you put a lot into it. You put everything you have into it each week to go out there and put your best foot forward and make sure you try to get the result that you're hoping for.
Coach, best of luck on Sunday. Thanks for the time as always.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
This week's game between the Giants and the Jets is presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the New York Giants. Verizon, America's most reliable network. That wraps it up for this week's show. For Coach Daboll, Carl Banks, and our entire crew, make sure after the game you check out Giants Postgame Live on MSG. You've been watching the Coach Daboll Show presented by Ford.